Hey guys, it's your coach Amanda. So I'm about to get my workout on, but I wanted to check in with you guys, so all my beautifulness. So you're doing great, you're getting started, or you're halfway through, you're on track, maybe you're off track, maybe you're not doing so great. The reason for this is always going to be how consistent you are with the activities that lead to the goal. So just like for my coaches, if they're inviting and sharing and helping people every day, consistently month after month, their businesses will grow. It's the same with this journey. It's the same with your marriage. If you want your relationship to improve, you have to do those small things for each other every once in a while, but do them regularly, not just give an anniversary card once a year and hope your marriage is okay, right? It's the same. It's the pump the well story that we've talked about before. It's the same with the fitness journey. Your goal is to be consistent. And for you, that might mean a day or 2 days or 3 days straight that you can hit those workouts until you build up to a week. But the reason the 21-day fix is laid up as, whether you're doing that program or not, the reason it's laid out as a 21-day plan is because that is this amount of time that the scientists say it takes to build healthy new habits. So if you're making daily efforts and you build up consistently for 21 days, you're going to reinforce those new good habits. So what I want to hear below this video is how many of you guys have made it through a solid 21 days without giving up on yourself, without going off the wagon completely. Now that doesn't mean like you got hungry and had an extra apple or you threw in an extra Shakeology one day because you were just craving chocolate. I mean like without like taking 3 days off on a bender, and it doesn't matter if it's your birthday, your anniversary or whatever, that's still more than a meal, right? So like a meal off is just being off for that day. Right? One meal, like you went out to dinner and maybe had something you didn't mean to, that's an acceptable slip that happens once in the course of 21 days. But do you see how if you went out to dinner every night, that would add up really quickly? Do you feel like this would be that beneficial to you if you were doing that? Now, I will say that you have a little more leeway with the workouts than you do with the food. And that's because the food you're eating is so clean that if you're nailing the containers, then you're automatically nailing your macronutrients and your micronutrients. So what that means is, if that's confusing to you, is like if you have X amount of purples and yellows, those are mostly carbs, and if you have X amount of reds, those are mostly proteins, and then you have your orange and your blue is your fats, and your green veggies is some more carbs actually, even though it's a very low amount, but that's your fiber and a lot of those micronutrients you need. That all fills out naturally. But let's say you decide to, like people will say to me, well, I got everything in but 2 of my reds. You just took away your protein but left everything else the same. So if you skip 2 of your reds, you essentially just put yourself on a high carb diet. And I don't know about you, I love that the fix allows me to still have carbs. However, I have never heard of a high carb diet being very successful unless you're a serious athlete and weight training really heavy. Then that's a different story. But for the most part, for the kind of workouts we're all doing, to Turbo Fire, 21-day fix, hammer and chisel, most of those quarter force, T25, you're going to want to keep a pretty healthy ratio so that you still have enough carbs for fuel, but not too many, because if you have too many, you store them as fat and not healthy, yummy avocado type fat, like fast hanging on saddlebags fat, right? And we don't want that. So it's really important that you keep that ratio. If you've done it for a whole week and you really cannot get all the food in, then talk to me and we will one-on-one adjust your plan. But I really think that first you have to adjust your actions, and you need to see if you're really doing what you're supposed to do every day, and if you can really knock out a whole week with maybe, like for me, I know that I'm always off on Sunday because I tend to have steak Sunday night with my husband, and I don't measure the steak in the red container, and it's not a lean flank steak. It's a big juicy steak. So I probably go a little over on my protein and fat that day. I adjust by not having my blue on Sunday because I know I'm getting more than enough fat in the steak. and I call it good, and I make sure I double my workout that day, and I move on with my life. And that allows me to manage and maintain, because I've gotten to where I'm at. But when I started, I was a heck of a lot more careful than I am now, because I had serious goals and I wanted to make serious progress. The more finite you are, like the more you can tighten that up. I want you all to experience what I felt when I finished my first round of 21 Day Fix. When I was video documenting it for the first time, and I had never done it before, and all those videos are on my YouTube. And I was buying groceries and literally figuring it out and making food mostly only for me for that 21 days. I had to tell Daryl, I need to do this. I need to see some progress. I've been stuck at the same weight for 3 months. I need to see how to shift the scale and shift my body and get my metabolism going again. And I knew I was eating all healthy food, and I knew I was working out every day at that point. This is after I lost like the first 65 pounds, and then nothing for months. And what it took was really fine-tuning that diet until I got it moving. There is very little wiggle room in the idea that you need to be taking in less than you're putting out. So I need to consume, it's diet 101. I need to consume less than I burn more than I'm consuming, right? Like, it's just subtraction. So now, let's say I could only have 800 calories a day, which none of you ever tell me you're eating 800 calories a day. But let's just pick that as an example. I could have 2 apples, a banana, a giant salad, a couple chicken breasts, probably a couple hard-boiled eggs on that, and still be below, that's several meals and snacks, and still be below 800 calories, because those are all clean, healthy foods. Or I could go have 1 cheeseburger extra value meal at McDonald's. Now, do you think that you would get results from having 1 cheeseburger extra value meal every day for a week? No. Or God forbid, longer than that. You're going to gain weight. Your heart's going to be unhealthy. You're going to feel sluggish and tired. You're probably going to get sick sooner than later because your immune system's going to suck. You're short on vitamins, vitamin deficient. It would not benefit you. So this is the same reason why what you put in is more important than what you're burning, in my opinion. This is why people who try and use MyFitnessPal alone by themselves and haven't done any work on clean eating, not that they have to follow the fix, but I'm just saying clean eating in general and picking good foods. If you haven't worked on those good choices, this is how you end up just trying to hit a calorie goal and gaining weight and going, I don't know why I'm not seeing any results. I'm only eating 800 calories a day. Well, you got to look at what you're eating, and then you got to look at the amounts. And so this plan is designed to help you figure that out. So just know, like, this is one thing that Autumn said to me in person when we were talking about this at our team retreat. She said, people will come to me and say, oh, I did this with the fix and I did this, but I did my own version of it. Or like, oh, I followed the fix. And then they'll later say, oh yeah, I didn't use any yellows. She'll be like, well, then you didn't follow the fix. And she's right. You can't say you did her plan and then not follow her plan. And you can't say it didn't work for you if you didn't do the work. So I want to hear how many of you have made it through 21 days of the nutrition plan, or whatever nutrition plan you're doing, and how that felt when you did it. And if you haven't, I want to hear a commitment from you that starting whenever you tell me a date, that you're going to nail 21 straight days of whatever plan you're doing. I want to see maybe you had an extra apple that day, as opposed to I took the weekend off and started over again Monday. Does that make sense? Because the accomplishment you will feel will be reflected. The effort you put in will show in the results you get. And that is the most encouraging thing of all. Getting results, whether they're sleeping better, feeling better, aching less, being stronger, not having backaches, or losing 5 pounds, whatever it may be. So that's how you're going to achieve them. So if you haven't nailed 3 weeks, let's commit to it and let's do it. And if you have, I want to hear how it felt. You can even say how you imagine it would feel if you want to get there. And then let's do it, myself included, I might take a little day off on my vacation, but I earned that. But I want to hear it, and I want to commit to helping you guys to do that, and I want to see what kind of results you get when you're really 100% with it. There's a lot of people in this group working very hard, and I want to make sure you all get your best results, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information so that you process this and it becomes a tool you use for your future and not just some arbitrary thing you do that doesn't make sense. Does that make sense? I hope so. I really love you guys. I'm here to support you. If you have any questions, also feel free to post them below. There's a big group. I get a lot of notifications, so I try to catch them all. I'm doing my best. Hopefully you feel supported and you're doing well. And I will be checking in with you shortly because I'm going to do this. Right now and get my workout done. Energized, shaker, magic.